a message for my people.
Nick Dad, baby. We the new label.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, son.
Now this the black sheep sticking its home. I need a crib like I'm Gatsby.
I need it.
In hand, just understand my
Pockets that deep.
with nothing to prove. I ain't got nothing to do. When they can't compete and I got nothing to lose. You see them told me I'm the one.
What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Veterans Minimum, the number one sports betting vibe on the internet. We got people outside looking nice. You guys look fantastic.
Mad.
White pants, like I have white pants
White
on
pants
right now.
crew.
We are here. All things Veterans Minimum are at Veterans Minimum. The man to my left, Mr. George Carmona.
Live. Shave the beard. Shave the beard. The Saints got a new quarterback. I hit a good live bet, and then I have a bad beat of a lifetime to share in today's show. So
Of a lifetime.
Of a life.
yeah. It's one of the situations where it's first time ever. One of those bad beats. So, could you take a guess?
Can you give me a sport?
No, come on now. You know I don't bet. What would I bet on right now?
Maybe baseball?
No. Clearly not baseball.
Oh, so you definitely had the Clippers.
No, see, the bet I put in is the reason why it's a bad beat. It's not a bad beat because I chose a side of this. The bad beat was I put in a live play when the game was out of hand before the Clippers went on the run for the game to go to overtime.
Oh, my goodness.
12-1.
Damn.
Oh.
Yeah. By 0.1 seconds. So now I have on my record, I have the Max Holloway last second knockout,
Which I was on the other side of.
which he's on the other side of. I have fight to go the distance, and then I have game will go to overtime, and I lose by 0.1 fucking seconds. Crazy.
Damn.
First time ever in NBA history, and that's a long time, that a game-winning shot has been a dunk.
Listen, you always remember your first, right? Isn't that what they say?
Yes.
So you'll always remember this one.
For sure.
The
For
voice
sure.
you hear in the background is a friend of the show, family to the show, sports betting queen. Katie is in the building.
Thank you.
Let's go. She's back.
Nice.
She's back.
She
Let's
is.
start off with this. Give us your worst bad beat, or a bad beat that whenever you hear bad beats, this comes to mind right away.
Oh, man, I would say just yesterday I was rug tufting with the girls. I was here for a bachelorette. We took the Lakers money line. That was a bad beat. Why? Because you were like, the Lakers got to win this game. And it was the first time the girls bet. So it was on me, right? To be, hey, I got this, whatever. Let's do it. Give me the money. Let's all go to the sport. I took them to the Circa because we had a table at Circa Stadium swim. Took them to the sports book, 15, 16 girls rolling in, putting in a bet. And of course it loses like that.
Yeah.
That's how that feels.
Damn.
That does fit the profile.
Yeah,
There's been bad beats as well.
Yeah, you know what's really funny? She's so right that when you first give someone that's never bet before, when they go to bet with you, they're either hooked forever to all your plays or they're never listening to you
Yes.
again. It's
Yes.
one or the other, right?
Correct.
Like, dude, I remember the first year we ever did Veterans Minimum, we were picking 3 games a week. I picked 72% that year. I think I went like 39-12 or some shit like that, whatever it was. But for the people that have been listening for that long, I immediately became the guy. Like,
Yeah.
everything my friends were picking, I was like, yo, you should go. And it was like, oh, like I had
They'll change it.
like I had a time machine and I knew the outcome type shit.
Yes.
So everyone got hooked. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
especially now, all the people that found us because of Saquon Barkley last year,
Yep.
Offensive Player of the Year. Now they're like, oh my God, this kid's a genius. Wait, he's picked the last 3 in a row? Holy shit, who is he? So I could relate to that because I've been on sides, especially when it's a sport that my friends are not familiar in. So like, I really bet 4 sports. I bet NBA playoffs. Notice I said NBA playoffs, not NBA in general. I bet football, UFC, and soccer. So whenever like a major soccer tournament comes around and they're like, dude, give me a bet. and I tell them, and if it doesn't hit, they'll never ask
Yeah,
me again.
immediately, like, no phone call, no, like, hey, what's up? Hey, what are we doing? But that's, that's the best part about it is you can always roll back. You could always be like, dude, I'm a biased Laker fan. What I mean, and they were too. Obviously, they're where I'm from, but like you could always. But it just gives you a little bit more like confidence to be like, no, we'll run it back and we'll win more this time. You know what I mean?
Oh, for
But
sure.
bad
Yeah.
beats will get to you because you'll always, like you said, you'll always remember it.
Yeah, we spoke about this recently because we got a question from a fan one time, and for me it'll always be Phillip Rivers fumbling on Monday Night Football against the Chiefs. It was like mid 2010s. I had a 8-leg parlay, and that was the last leg, Monday Night Football. And I don't hedge.
Right.
I don't do hedges. And he fumbled the snap. He legit fumbled the snap. And that's how I lost my bet, bro. Kneeling to, quarterback kneel. Game was over. I'm cashing. Nope. Joke's on me. So that's the worst bet that I've ever had. Worst bad beat that I've ever had.
Those are the worst.
Yeah, no, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. When you guys were talking about putting in your friend's first sports bet, do you ever use your friends to break a cold streak? Because I always tell the people that I'm introducing sports betting, I'm like, chances are, since this is your first time putting in a bet, you're more than likely going to hit it. It's the
Yeah,
what is
you're
it? The
feeling, yeah.
gambler's fallacy or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm like, I just tail them. Like, I'm like, let me remove myself from the equation. You're a unicorn.
Mhm.
You've never put a bet in before. I'm going to utilize this.
I strongly believe this.
Yes.
Whoever makes their bet for the first time always wins.
Oh, I believe it. I just did it the last time I think I saw you guys. Who shout out to Lisa. She's my daughter's godmom. It was her first time betting. And we were at the sports book at Resorts World. And she was like, how does this work? And we were watching all the games, the Bills, the Eagles. And it was like an over-under. I was teaching her about the over-under. This is how you bet it for the entire game or half the game. She put in that bet and she won. Because
Yeah.
it was like her gut feeling of like, I think
Yep.
that team's going to win.
And you just have to follow it. That's what
And
I'm
then
saying.
she
It's a
started
unicorn.
doing research, right? So she's in the room and she's talking to me about, well, I don't think blah, blah, blah is they're not going to have that on site. You know what I mean? I was just like, okay, now she's hooked. And she is. I see her post and she'll be watching the game with her son, So it's pretty awesome. See, that's the hook feeling,
Yeah.
because they win.
Getting your kids
Yeah.
addicted to it early too. That's the real, like, you know what I
That's
mean?
the real-
If you don't teach your kids about gambling, what do you think the fucking sports books are going to do?
Yes.
They're going to beat you over the head like they beat us over
Yeah.
the head.
Yeah.
So I got to teach the kid early.
You got to show them the ropes, bro.
Hey,
You got to show them the ropes.
your allowance this week's $10.
Yeah.
But this weekend, the Chargers are
Oh,
underdogs.
dude,
What do you want to do?
My 10-year-old girl is the hustler of the family. Strongly believe. Sells Pokemon cards, says turn on the TV. I'm betting on the Suns. Like, I'm hearing this from a 10-year-old girl that comes from my house who probably hears the same conversations that we have. And she's like, Mom, did Kevin Durant score more? You know what I mean? And I'm sitting there, proud mom. Like,
Yeah.
You're going to know what to do. I'm not worried about you.
She's a hustler.
Yes.
That's a hustler move.
I got a couple questions for you. What happened to your show?
We're only on during the NFL season. So unlike you guys talk about all the topics and stuff. For me, NFL is my biggest time where I can relax and also do the show. I would love to do the show year round like you guys do. So much respect. But for me, like, it's just so busy. You know what I mean? But this is something that I want to put into the future is talk about other things other than the NFL season.
What's really interesting is the NFL is a 12-month-a-year sport.
It is.
And especially
is.
with betting on the draft, you can bet
Mhm.
on the draft.
Yes.
I fired off a couple bets, and as the draft was going on, I really thought, I bet 40-1 that Shedeur Sanders.
You did that?
Well, that he was going to go to the Cowboys.
Oh, okay.
Like,
I thought.
the ties between Dion playing in Dallas.
Okay.
them kind of needing a
Yes.
quarterback because they could get out from the Dak Prescott.
Mhm.
So we were talking about it last week, and I wanted to bet Jackson Dart to go to the Jets. Ended up going to the Giants. So we're going to dive into the draft now. But, yeah, there's a lot of things. You know, last year I had already bet, or I had already, I should say, was talking about Saquon being Offensive Player of the Year from now.
Yeah.
Honestly, from before. Like 2 months ago, this time last year, I was talking about it. But I don't really fire off on team props. We were talking about this before we started recording, if we put any futures in for teams.
Yes.
I have an idea of a couple teams that I like. I want to see the schedule, which is coming out in 2 weeks, because it's when you play teams. You know who everyone is playing. So I knew who the Eagles and Saquon was going to play. That didn't matter to me. I was like, he's going to fucking go crazy because of the situation he's in. For individual props and awards, I fired off a couple already. But like team-wise, I like to wait. Because maybe, so perfect example. I like the Rams and the Bills this year a lot.
Yeah.
I want to see, are the Rams opening up against Kansas City, at Philly,
Right. Yeah.
49ers.
home Niners,
Yeah.
and then in Miami on a Thursday night football, and maybe they're 1-3 and I could wait on the Rams.
Yeah, it makes a big difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or is it going to be the reverse where like, yo, the Rams are 25-1 now, but they're playing Carolina, the Giants,
Yeah.
the Raiders, and like the Pats. So it could be that too. So I like to wait. I'm probably going to make my futures after the schedule comes out. Because for the most part, especially now with preseason, no one's really playing that often.
And most futures that you put now are just dart. Like you're just throwing it. You're throwing it to throw it to see if, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the schedule, like Nick says, like you have done this 3 years, like what did you say, 3 years in a row for offensive player?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like it's kind of like the trend that you're following within like what you know in that space of the stat. You know what I'm saying? Which comes into the betting world where you're like, when you bet, you have a trend that you follow, that you keep following, or you finally say, hey, the streak's gonna break.
Yeah,
You know?
I think maybe and he's already kind of made his pick, but I'm just going to say this, right? He's also followed it perfectly as Offensive Player of the Year went from receiver to running back.
Mm-hmm.
The trend breaker, Brock Bowers, first tight end, Offensive Player of the Year. That it could happen. I don't know. He was really good last year. He's got a good quarterback now. Maybe Genty opens some things up for him.
And like Nick said,
Could be a
the
trend breaker.
schedule. Who are they playing?
Very true.
Who's gonna be the guy? You know what I mean? Like all of that makes a difference.
Yeah, because it's so important. I'll never forget, and I always reference this one particular team because being in New York, I just remember it so vividly. When the Jets had Rex Ryan, the last year that he was there, Geno Smith was the quarterback. And, bro, they played like Matt Ryan, Phillip Rivers, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady twice. They played fucking Matthew Stafford. They played like the first 11 games was just killer after killer after killer after killer. Like, bro, they're toast.
There's nothing you
They
can.
were done.
Yeah, there's no
There's
redemption.
no reason to bet them in that scenario at all. Because, like, you know, because every fan does this, right? You get the schedule, you're like, win.
Nah,
Maybe. Maybe. Fuck, that's a loss, bro. We're playing in Philly on a short
Yeah.
week. Every fan does that, right?
You're going through it and you're just checking off.
Right, for sure. So every fan does that. That's why it's so important to know when the schedule comes out and who you're playing. You know who you're playing, I should say, when you're playing them.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm waiting on. And I really like the Rams this year. I think they're you ready for this? 50-1 to have the best record in football. I think that's a really interesting bet because you love their defense.
Yep.
I love Matthew Stafford. I love Adams going there. Has been my favorite move of the offseason.
Yeah.
We know
That
about
was
Puka.
intense. That was crazy.
Yeah, we know about Puka.
That's like a sleek move that like no one really talks about too.
Well, it's because like so much of sports, and you know this being in the betting space, it's all perception and narratives.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so bad around Devontae Adams because of what happened with the Jets. But Bro, he's a baller. Like he's
still
he's still a top 10
See,
wide
you and I said-
receiver.
yeah.
He's still a top 10 wide receiver, but it was a lot of fuckery with Aaron Rodgers and the Jets.
And he
That's
just-
why the stock on him was so low. But the Rams aren't dumb. They had the money to give to Cooper Kupp, but they're like, nah, we're going to replace it with this guy. And it's just going to open up a lot of shit because you're really going to see the Rams offense, I think, cook because they have a lot of pieces. And, you know, I'm big on the Rams. I love Matthew Stafford as like a dark horse MVP pick. He's 40-1
Wow.
with the
Really?
weapons that they have. Verse is your boy. I know you always been hyping
Yeah.
up Verse, maybe defensive player of the year. I just really
Best
like
coach in the division.
best coach in the division, best coach in the conference, arguably you could say. You know, Sirianni, you got to give him his flowers. Look, he's been to 2 Super
Right.
Bowls in 3 years.
Yeah.
So he's definitely in that discussion, if not already. But yeah, McVay, man, I
McVay
really
has
like
always-
this
yeah.
team.
No, McVay has always been one of the top coaches of what we have now of all the coaches.
Oh,
You know what I mean? He's part of that group. I think.
yeah. I mean, he's a part of the iconic Redskins photo. I was about to say Commanders photo that everybody fucking geeks out over. Look at the 2013 coaching
That- and they show that.
And
Yeah.
you know, Shanahan. You got
Yeah.
LaFleur. You got Kevin O'Connell. I don't. Maybe not him. I don't.
Well, I think Shanahan is just, I mean, obviously he's good, but like he's not proven, right? Because
Right.
you've got to win.
Yeah. I mean, I went on record last year at the end of the NFL season saying, maybe we move on. And everybody was like, George, you're a fucking idiot. for that
No,
take."
I'm-
And I don't know. I how do you go from
Yeah.
amazing NFC, or, you know, Super Bowl, conference championship games,
Yeah.
and then you don't make the playoffs? Like, to me, it's just logically, I don't know. There's regressing, and then there's regressing the way that they did, and I was like,
And can you
And it was an injury bug, and I get it. I get it. Next man up philosophy's broken. But
No,
the
but
way
that's
that
just
they
an
were losing
excuse.
games.
That's just an excuse. Come on, you
I
guys
wasn't-
know that the coaches, they're gonna coach, but that's just an excuse. And we both like I was talking about it the last time I was on your guys' show, where you're gonna win a championship, or at some point you do have to let go.
Yeah.
Because some fans are just as mad as what George is saying. They're just as mad. I know fans that from the Bay that are like, we need a new coach, and you may think that we don't, but I feel, you know, you could explore that option.
Yeah.
But can you tell in the draft? I know we're going to talk about it, but can you tell the Niners got Salah back? I mean, look at the picks.
Yeah.
You know.
Very true.
So
Well, I always just love when teams, and this was and maybe because I saw my team do it for so long and then they stopped doing it. And I think that's why the Giants fell into the trap that they got into. And that's why I really love, and you know, this will segue into the draft. I fucking love what the Eagles did again, bro. The Eagles, once again, they're like, you know what? Our defense is really good and our pass rush is really good. We're going to get this dude, Jahad Campbell from Alabama, who dropped. I don't know why he dropped. I would have to look more into that. But the Eagles have gotten to a place where, cross-sport reference, the Spurs were the only team that when they would draft a European or an international player, you were like,
Son of a bitch, I'm in.
I love that pick.
Yeah.
Because it was the Spurs doing it.
yeah,
When the Knicks did it, when the
You're like-
fucking Raptors did
you're
it,
like,
and they
what?
took Bargnani, and even like Porzingis ended up working out, but at the time, they're like, oh, these fucking idiots. They took this dude from Lithuania or Latvia,
Yeah.
wherever Porzingis is from, no disrespect. But everyone was trolling it. And bro, but the Spurs, it was like they had Ginobili, they had
because you just
Parker.
knew.
You
Yeah.
just trusted the organization
Yeah.
to make the right pick.
Yeah.
It's what we always say about the Steelers. When they draft a receiver, stud. He's gonna play on your fantasy team. He's a baller, right? And with the Eagles, everything, if you look at what Howie Roseman has done the last couple of years, it's impossible to dislike it. He drafts Devontae Smith, trades away a first-round pick to get A.J. Brown, gets Jalen Carter, gets Jordan Davis. He gets Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, right? He drafts fucking this year, Jahad Campbell. Like, everything this guy is doing has been money, and then the free agents that he's bringing in. And to me, yeah, they're the defending champs. Their team didn't get worse, and I think it just got better. And it pains me to say it, but as I've gotten older, because my team sucks, I'm way more happy with making money, and I made a lot of money with the Eagles last year. Remember where I said, yo, plus 650 at the start of the playoffs. They got them. Remember I was like, yo, what's their flaw? And we had to talk about the kicker. And that's when you know you're reaching. That's when you know you're reaching. You're like, yo, bro, every best O-line, best D-line, 1,000 different ways on offense that they could beat you. And like the corners were starting to come along. You're like, bro, this team's going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And the other thing,
You didn't want to say it, but you did.
right?
You know what I mean?
And staying with the Eagles, I think we're guilty of this, where I think it's happening to the Thunder right now, where we just don't know what this team is going to become, because the Thunder are so good.
Yes.
They're so good this year. They set the record for most double-digit wins by any team in NBA history. They steamrolled through Memphis, and I know John Morant got hurt, but regardless, they steamrolled through them. But it's like, bro, you don't know if the Thunder are going to turn into the Warriors. Their team is really young. And, dude, 10 years ago, you're from the Bay. No one saw the Warriors turning into 50 of the 82 games on TNT and ESPN.
Yeah.
You just don't know, right? And with Philly, if you look at their losses, one of them was the last game of the season where it didn't really matter. The other one was Jalen Hurts got hurt when they were up 14 on the Commanders. And then the other one was when Barkley dropped that ball inside the 5 against the Falcons, and I thought our Offensive Player of the Year ticket
Was gone.
fucking evaporated. But, like, yo, they really beat the shit out of teams. And through the playoffs, their toughest matchup was with the Rams.
There was no stop. And then it was just improving and improving and improving.
And you just don't know. What I'm getting at is, like, you don't know if this is the beginning of an Eagles dynasty or a Thunder dynasty, where all the players are so young and they have everyone under contract. And now you add Campbell in there too, based on the infrastructure, based on the history and the track record. How can you not say that they didn't win the draft? I just crushed that, bro. I know you like that. If you don't reshare this, bro, I can't fire you, but shout out to Isaiah in the control room, Eagles fan.
I mean, it's true. I think it's what Howie Roseman has figured out is you have to find your defense in the draft and you pay for your offense. And I know you'd mentioned Devontae Smith and him drafting that offensive talent earlier, but I just think that that's where you can get the biggest bang for your buck in the NFL, is getting your defensive front established to the draft. Then they went to the secondary, and now it's just luxury pieces. So
Yeah.
I'm 100% with you.
Strategic, yeah.
It's a great draft from them. They even got a quarterback. They got Kyle McCord late in it. The Syracuse. He's another one of those kids similar to Drew Lock. The video I saw of him this weekend was after a Syracuse win, just like literally word for word on some key Glock or something. I was like, he passes the vibe check.
I think they're doing, I mean, like, it's nothing you put past the expectation of a championship team, right? Because they have a formula. They're going to stick with it. Just like we have a formula as gamblers, sports bettors. We stick with it. The one times that we don't, we take the risk of getting a bad beat or getting, you know what I mean?
Facts.
So, yeah. It makes sense.
And look, Howie Roseman is forever going to get trolled for taking Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson, right?
Yeah.
But he's hit a home run on, 85% of the other picks?
Yep.
So, all right, cool. Yeah, that's a rough L, but every team has one. Every team has a mistake. What's a team that you like what they did?
I mean, I am a person that I'm not looking at draft grades, or am I necessarily impressed with any team.
So can I add more context? Because
for sure.
I would sound like a hypocrite if I'm like, what did you think of the draft? When all I do is I shit on the draft process. It's my least favorite time of the year. I think no one knows anything.
I mean, I know what the Saints did, and that's my extent of the draft.
But what I'm saying is, so I like looking at drafts from what was your approach, not so much the players, because like the players, again, you don't know. We've talked about this. A third of them are not going to be on the team after their rookie deal. A third of them are going to be okay. We don't need to address the left guard or the fucking nickel corner. And then a third, they're going to be all Pro Bowl players, right? And hopefully you have more of your selections in that third than in the latter. But I'm thinking, like, so let me give you an example. I love what the Giants did. I didn't like any of the quarterbacks to be taken in the top 5. was talking about this for months. I'm like, I personally don't see it. I don't like it. I rather get a really good player, which they did in Carter. And then if you want to take a quarterback later, I'm cool with it. So I like what they did. I'm talking about the approach. Now, this could age terribly, and it might. But I'm saying just the thought process, it was exactly what I wanted the Giants to do. I was overstimulated Thursday night. I was so happy.
Yeah.
So much so that a lot of my friends that are
That was shocking.
fans of teams that hate the Giants were like, fuck, man, y'all might have something here. You know, they shitted on the dart pick because a lot of people don't know about him, but, you know, he set a lot of records over at Ole Miss. The Giants fell in love with him. We'll get to Shedeur in a little bit, but that's what I mean when I ask you about the draft. I just wanted to add more context because I don't want people to be like, bro, all you do is shit on the draft.
For sure. I mean, the teams that I would say I looked at and I was like, damn, this kind of sucks is obviously teams in the Saints division. So, and in the NFC South, Tampa Bay goes with Emeka Egbuka, or however the heck you say his last name, from Ohio State. Getting a receiver from Ohio State always makes me worried. But then the Panthers went out and got, which I thought was probably the best receiver prospect in this draft, and Tetroita McMillan, which T-Mac, yeah, I know, another fucking crazy name to have to learn how to pronounce. So it's the way that I looked at it is, okay, how can you go about winning the NFC South? And when the Buccaneers, a team that already was highlighting a lot of offensive power, went out and got another fucking certified stud to go out there with Mike Evans, I'm just thinking about the logistical nightmare of no matter what the Saints do against this team, we're ruined. Even when the Buccaneers they go for a receiver and they didn't even need a receiver. So
yeah, but maybe they're doing it for trade bait.
I also just think the draft is as simple as you just take the best player available now.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
And for cheap or trade bait or additional pieces to other pieces that people need in the same division to possibly get somebody. Because when you get someone in the same division that's like a steal, for example, we could talk about the Lakers and Luka, but that's a steal. That's what you call a steal, right? You're stealing from another team because you know you have the advantage at that certain point in time. So that happens a lot, you know, because it's the strategic move for the NFL team.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I also think, though, I hate to cut you off, but to her point about the trade bait, I also think they're building on his strength.
Yeah.
Right. And Godwin got hurt last year and they rewarded him. Because
I mean, that was such a bad. You guys were doing a show. I think we were going to do the show. We were doing the show when he got hurt that night.
I remember he got hurt and the game was like out of hand and it really it was
no,
like, why is he even playing?
Didn't you have?
Oh, they were playing the Ravens, I think.
Yeah, and you had one of
Mark
the
Andrews to score 2 touchdowns, baby, 35-1.
See?
Yeah.
When we were here, I think we were watching the end of it, or we were like, Godwin's done.
Yep.
It was like something you didn't want to
you're right.
watch.
It was against the Ravens Monday Night Football. That was the last time that we had you in here. Yeah. So he gets hurt, right? He dislocates his ankle. He's already up there in age. But I think what the Bucs did is they kind of paid him the on past performance. Like, yeah, you've kind of been underpaid. You're our guy. We'll take care of you. It was the issue I always had with someone from the Bay Area, Klay Thompson. When Klay Thompson was going through his contract negotiations last year, he was always saying that I feel disrespected. They're not giving me the money that I want. And my counter was, bro, for 2 years you didn't play and you were making north of $30 million. Does that not matter? Because it happened in the past.
Yeah.
So to me, it was, you did get rewarded. You didn't play during that time. They took care of you when they easily could have been like deuces. But
no, that's overvalue and undervalue.
Yeah, 100%. But you do that to like be an organization that's classy and takes care of their guys.
Yeah.
On like past performance.
And
That's
he
a big
was
issue.
killing it, guys.
Yeah.
Godwin was, he was killing it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he was just some, he was sitting there getting paid and that was the end of that. He was doing his job, if not more. You know?
Easy to do your job when you have Baker Mayfield throwing it. You know?
That's
For
his
sure.
boy. He loves Baker Mayfield.
I know.
He is.
And trust me, I love Baker all throughout the end of the season too, because I was betting on him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, it's
not
tough not
not
to bet on
obviously
a
for
person that
like those games were crucial to me because it was big bets at the time that I wanted Baker to win or cover. You know.
yeah.
So yeah.
Just always put your money on Baker. You'll be happy at the end of the day.
That's
So yeah, Nick, that's one that's like kind of the cluster that I looked at, and then I was just looking to see all these offensive linemen taken. Gray Zabel is a great name. He's going to be a great guard somewhere. You know, the first guard off the board next year is going to be 55 from Arkansas. So
Hey.
I'm kind of mentally preparing for that moment. But the Saints not getting Shedeur, every time that the Saints were on the clock, bro, I was like this. I was like this. People would be talking to me. I'm like, shut up. I can't hear you right now. It's perfect timing.
Yeah.
It's perfect timing. And it never happened. And on the second day, when I thought we were going to get him in the third round, we end up going with Tyler. 1,000 different ways to pronounce the last name. Is it Sh? Is it Shug? Is it Shog? Is it Shug?
You're gonna have to think of a nickname. That's what,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly, Katie, I'm not going to think of a nickname until I see what he does.
Yeah. I agree.
Because up until his name was called, one, I had never seen a clip from this kid, and two, I was like, damn, out of all these quarterbacks that I actually know their names and I've seen them play, we go with this guy who's been to 3 different schools. And Nick, you were mentioning he's the oldest quarterback in the draft.
Tyler Show is going to be 26 years old
Wow.
after week 3.
Wow.
He is older than Trevor Lawrence. He is older than CJ Stroud. He's older than a lot of players right now in the league.
So can I ask?
He was actually the backup for Justin Herbert at one point in Oregon.
So I'm gonna ask you guys something. Do you think because of previous drafts? I know Nick, you hate talking about the draft, and it's like antsy, which I'm not really a draft fan either. But do you think they're trying to manipulate? Obviously, they always manipulate the draft, but that they're bringing us down to a point where they're gonna make the draft kind of weird and, like you said, who is this guy? Never had a clip because of that whole oversaturated thing that we've been seeing over the years, where we're like, what do these guys know, and what do they think? Who are these guys that think they know what they're doing when they're picking a player and this and that? You know what I mean? Like, are they like, are these scouts for real, or are they just making it seem like, oh yeah, like the draft this year is just going to be trash, so that like they validate that, are these drafts for real, or are these scouts for real type thing? You know? Do you get where I'm?
Yeah.
How each team has to have their own criteria.
Yeah.
Because
And like
they
if
could
they
be lied
pick
to.
a bad
Yeah.
player, they're like, yeah, because you guys didn't trust us, or whatever it was, you know, or like
For
this
sure.
is for people's jobs, you know. Like, it's a weird theory.
Your thoughts on that?
I was having the conversation. I think it was, he's here. Antoine and I had that conversation yesterday. We were talking about it because he was like, yo, you know, are you seeing more and more quarterbacks get taken because like, you know, it's such an important position. We know that. But then also, you're taking it just because you need one, right? Like, I like your approach. I want to take best available. Unless I absolutely love a guy, then I'll take him.
Yeah.
But last year we saw 6 quarterbacks go in the first round. A couple years ago, the only one that went was Kenny Pickett.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's it seems like every 2-3 years, it's this is the year to suck because there's like 6 good ones. And it's very rare where all 6 are going to be good, right? Let's not forget in 2018.
Dutter stud rule.
Yeah.
Dutter stud rule.
Baker goes 1. He just became good. Like, you know, he disagrees where like Baker was always nice. I know you had that one moment, which I loved about you. You're like, you riding for your guy. That's your boy Baker.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, Baker now just got the big contract extension and like people are like, oh shit, he could be
It took a while.
franchise.
It took a while. Yeah.
Sam Darnold, it wasn't until last year, right? Josh Rosen, I was all in on him, was out the league in 2 years. And then who were the last 2 guys taken? Josh Allen and Lamar, multiple time MVPs, like no debate. arguably the best
Yeah.
quarterbacks in the league with
Yeah.
Mahomes, right? Like they're in that tier.
Yeah.
So it all depends. I think the big issue is it's such a valuable position. Like it's the only position in sports that moves the betting line like it does. Like you're talking about like 7-point swings if the starter is in and the backup is in, right? They're getting the biggest money. They're the face of the franchise. They're the leader. They're all that shit, right? And it literally makes or breaks your career as a GM or in the front office. Carson Schoen, the son of Joe Schoen, the GM for the Giants, last year he literally told him on the Hard Knocks, which by the way, there's no more preseason Hard Knocks because of what happened with the Giants. He was like, yo,
That's
bro,
hilarious.
just take Jaden Daniels, that is. He's like, how long are you going to have this job if it don't work out? It's like, yeah, that's how it is.
It's face of franchise move, right? Risk. I mean, I guess they're betting on themselves, right? Or betting on they're putting in the risk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
No,
need to
I
ask-
like Nick's point for sure.
Nick, did Carson Schoen post that you guys were taking Dart in the morning?
yeah.
Before,
like early.
way before the draft?
Way before, yeah. Yeah. I know, plus 170 for him to go to the Giants. Yeah, I
Wow.
know. I couldn't make that bet in Nevada. They don't let it.
Oh my
Worst
God.
state in the fucking planet, in the country, I should say, to make bets. The betting capital of the world. Can't find it.
Can't find it.
I just, yeah.
Wow,
I
even
couldn't
at, like,
find
South-
Shedeur stuff either.
South Point?
Nowhere.
No, there was one.
They had
book.
them up, but
Yeah.
they took them down like on Tuesday of
They
last
knew.
week before
They
the
knew.
draft. Yeah.
They knew.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's. I don't want to call it predetermined like WWE, but
Pretty much.
if you know someone, they could be like, yeah, we're probably going to take this guy if he's there.
For
right?
sure.
So it's a ways that you could rig it.
Yeah.
The main conversation though was about Shedeur Sanders, and he slides.
Slides.
I have a lot of thoughts, and I want to just have an open conversation about this because I was thinking, and George, us two are perfect to have this conversation because I think there's a little bit of bias with people that we know on a personal level when it comes to critiquing them in their field. I think everyone has that.
Yeah.
So you see Shedeur start to slide, right? And I wonder how much of Deion Sanders' relationship with people in the media, mind you, Deion's been famous for what, 40 years?
Pretty
Right?
much.
Since like the
Yeah.
late 80s, he's
Yeah.
been
You
the
could-
fucking
yeah.
man, right?
Mhm.
He's worked on NFL Network. He's been on like other network, like he's been on TV. He's a big personality, right? I wonder how much of, I can't shit on George because I know his dad.
Yeah.
Right? I can't shit on Shedeur and really tell you, Katie, what I think of him as a prospect
Mhm.
because Deion's my guy. I can't, so
Yeah.
I don't know if that was played into it. I would say, yeah, I'd make it the
Yes.
favorite that was the conversation because you don't want to slight your boy's son if you know him on a personal level. And he has amazing relationships with people in media because of his role as an NFL star for so long. He was a college star, then NFL star, Hall of Famer, and then he's on TV doing all this stuff. So I wonder how much of that played into this because I got a text from someone that played in the NFL.
Mhm.
I'm not going to name the names, but if you guys are friends of the show and have been listening, you know who I'm talking about. He was like, yo, bro, do me a favor. Stop looking at mock drafts. He's like, do you know how much easier GM jobs would be if they didn't have mock drafts? Because what happens is I put out a mock draft
Mhm.
and George's team has the 17th pick. Your team has the 32nd pick.
Right.
If George takes a guy that I have on my mock draft and I'm the man, I'm the mock draft guy, he has the 17th pick, but he takes him at 8, I'm going to tweet out he's reaching.
Reaching.
But maybe George had him as his best player in his whole fucking big board.
Right.
We don't know that.
Right.
The year the Giants took Evan Ingram, they said he was the best player in the draft. They took him at like 20 something, right? Everyone else was like, yo, they're reaching. You're taking a tight end that high. Like, what the fuck is going on? So it's what the teams view you as. And then if you have the 60th pick and you take a guy 143rd,
Mhm.
I'm going to be like, she got a steal. And it's all mock drafts. Mock drafts are fucking stupid. The drafts will be so much different if it wasn't for that. And I got dudes in the NFL that have told me like, bro, stop reading them. Stop
Yeah.
wasting your time.
Because it's just like basically just scrap.
Yeah.
It's scrap.
I would say the only thing that honestly matters would be the order in the position group that they fall. Like, I think you could accurately maybe predict that.
But you might.
But I know it would still fall into like the bullshit and everything. But when you talk about the numbers and everything, you talk about like if a person was 145 on a list of all the different positions. If you broke it down by position, it would be pretty clutch, yeah. So, but the Shedeur situation, okay.
But what are your thoughts on that? On like the mock draft approach? Do you think I'm bugging out for telling you this? Because I've always felt this way, bro. Where I don't like him. I don't like him.
I mean,
it's a good way to get some clicks in the offseason.
He
leading up.
He
to the
also,
draft.
I think it's also because it's either the teams want to be really cheap about it because they don't want to give him,
a certain
the
amount.
part.
Right.
He threw a party, grand old party. What was it? You talked about it, George. How long was that stream?
Oh yeah, I was making a joke. I was like, he had a 72-hour live stream.
I mean, like you
Until he got
do
picked.
that, and you're expected to go up high, right? Because like your dad is like what Nick said. Your dad is who your dad is, and we don't need to talk any more about who your dad is, right? But I don't think that like he's that. I mean, he's great, but he's good, but he's not great. Does that make sense?
For sure.
Like it's one of those like, and he worked out with the Raiders, right? From what I know, didn't he
worked
work
out with a lot of teams?
Yeah,
And
but like they're in their heads, they're doing what we were talking about, like
They were just making daddy happy.
and also if we put you up high and you're a dud and we're making daddy happy, you're up high. No one's ever trusting any of whoever the source of truth is
For sure.
the teams.
And there was one thing that I really liked about him as like a prospect, right? As a prospect.
Mhm.
He's tough as shit. His offensive line was really bad.
Garbage.
And he would go on like
I mean, it was
90
trash.
he would go on like 97-yard drives and they would win games because of him. They became, I don't want to call him a power, but like they became an attraction. Like
Bro, they
who
were
the fuck-
must-watch TV
Yeah.
on Saturday nights for
Yeah.
the past 2 years.
Yeah.
Just because of
I mean, the
that whole
tickets
situation and him.
The
Right.
tickets were impossible to get, and they were they went from like 0 to like 4,000% in
yeah.
sales.
No, it was they resurrected football at a school that a quarterback hasn't been drafted since 1997. So I agree with you on that. It's there's the
That aspect.
yes. I think he rubbed people the wrong way.
Mhm.
Pause.
Mhm.
And I told you this a couple of weeks back. Okay. And I listened to It Is What It Is because I wanted to hear what Killer and Mace had to say on the subject of it. And they were really upset with the journalists making the anonymous tips about saying that, hey, he had really shitty interviews. He was acting arrogant. But they didn't put a name behind the comments. They didn't do that because Deion Sanders is extremely powerful in the world of sports.
Yeah.
And so
Yes.
we should have taken that little bit of information way more to heart and known at that moment.
He's not going.
He fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he clearly doesn't. And as we're propping up his talent here right now, and it's sure the talent wasn't necessarily always around him, and his offense line was mid. I mean, you're
Yeah.
talking about a team that won 4 games their first year,
Yeah.
barely made a bowl game, and got crushed in their bowl game that they decided to play. It's not like he led a team to a huge feat
Right.
and accomplishment. The fact that his number was retired,
That was
I think
insane.
was the ultimate. That's where Deion fucked up.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
No.
That's disrespecting the
No.
game of football.
Yeah, and also like the best quarterback that Colorado ever had was probably Cordell Stewart, and his jersey isn't retired from what I read.
So that's what the overconfidence saturation thing that I was telling you. Like it's just like they're overdoing it. And then even if you argued and said, "Hey, who was the guy passing to Travis?" You know what I mean? Who was that guy getting him the ball? You still pick the guy at the beginning of the draft, but like you're thinking to yourself, so is he that good now? Because he went down real low.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, so here's another thing, right? I wonder how much of prior comments of I want to coach my son in the league are teams like so perfect example, my team, the Giants. I'm Brian Daboll. My seat is sizzling. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna draft this kid if I know that
His dad's
gonna
coach the
come
team.
take my job. I'm just not gonna do it. So I think that played a role into it too.
People
right?
are scared for
There's
their
not
jobs.
like
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. When Dylan Gabriel went, I was like, damn, bro, they're doing some foul shit now.
Yeah.
Because like Oregon quarterbacks, I also don't like the systems. Just like I don't like Alabama quarterbacks. They very rarely work out. There's still people are not happy with Tua, right?
Yeah. No.
It's you have just top prospects fucking everywhere on the field, right? And with Oregon, it's like the scheme. The scheme is so crazy. They play so fast and it's first read and stuff.
Yeah.
Like Mariota was solid, but he wasn't what we thought he was going to be. Justin Herbert, awesome in the regular season. Playoff game, doesn't know what's happening, right?
Yeah.
So I wonder how much of that plays into it. The one thing that I also think was unfortunate about all this was we completely bypassed Cam Ward going number one, which when he's getting drafted, the fucking Jaguars make the trade with the Browns to take Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, we didn't even celebrate this dude. So that sucked for him also.
Give him his moment.
Give him his moment also. But with Shedeur, right? He's a very polarizing player because his dad is a very polarizing figure. He's a football fucking icon. He's a consensus. If you were to build like the best NFL team of all time, he's one of the corners, right? And he has a lot of influence. He has a lot of power. And not for nothing, I think we also need to address that he's such a popular social media quarterback also. Meaning like he's so polarizing.
Yeah.
Where some people love him and some people don't like him. But he is very popular. And what happens when someone is popular on social media, it is a fucking avalanche whenever something doesn't go in their favor. And that's what I think happened with Shedeur. He's not a fifth round quarterback, but I think a lot of these things play into it too. And, Cam Ward, like a lot of people were talking about race, right? And I don't want to sound ignorant as a fucking white dude talking about race, but Cam Ward, African-American, he went number one, right? So I don't think the NFL has an issue with that.
No.
As far as
no,
People
not
are,
at all.
bro.
Not
It's
at all.
it's
They're just
the fanboys are reaching. The fanboys are reaching. I get everybody's. It feels shitty that he got taken that low. I thought there was going to be at least 4 quarterbacks taken in the first round. I was completely wrong. Everybody bypassed it this year, and he fell where he fell. The fact that he was drafted, amazing. Because I'm going to be honest.
At that point, you were like, is he even going?
I thought the statement would have been undrafted.
Yeah.
If the fact that he was drafted, I don't think there's as big of a we aren't a fan of what you did. This is your true, honest stock. This is the way we value you.
Yeah, and I hope that's the case.
For sure.
I hope it's just how we open this conversation that like, don't listen to mock drafts. This is what we evaluated the talent on, and this is what he really should have been. But then on the flip side, I would argue, who the fuck knows anything anyway? Because Brock Purdy went last.
Yeah.
And he went to 2 NFC title games and a Super Bowl.
Exactly.
Right? And you constantly see all these guys, like Puka was a 5th round pick.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott was a 4th round pick. Like these guys, Antonio Brown was a 5th round pick. Like these guys come out of nowhere. It's so hard to try to properly evaluate. I think a lot of this had to do with
everything else
the polarizing father that he has, and them being like, bro, you know what? I want to coach my son in the next level. And you know what else you got to think of?
Did he say that? Like,
So
then that, like, it was everything else was a factor.
And also, let's think about this too, right? One of the reasons why Tim Tebow got pushed out the league is people didn't want a backup quarterback to get mad attention when he wasn't going to be the starter.
Right.
Because people didn't want to have to deal with that baggage. Good baggage or not, right?
Yeah.
It's a distraction. If you're if Shedeur is the backup now and you're on the hot seat and your starting quarterback goes 17 of 35 with 2 interceptions, and Dion is in Colorado, Coach Prime is in Colorado, and now they're going to ask him, like, yo, why isn't your son playing? My son should be playing. Now you know what the head coach has to do? He has to address that. Thoughts on Deion Sanders' comments about Shedeur? So now it's a whole it's a whole circus, warranted or not, that's around him. And if you don't value him as a first-round pick, and this is what you evaluate him as a talent, I hope that's what it is, that they evaluated him as a talent, and they're like, yo, bro, stop looking at mock drafts. Stop.
Yeah.
This is what we think he really is.
Well, let's talk about that. Like, if we can, just for a little bit. Like, he's going to the Browns. Like, you know, like, do you go there to die?
Yeah, it's where
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think.
And who's he with? Like, what's the roster in his position? Like, take a look at who he's with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that era is done. Massage era is done. Is it done? You know?
No,
like,
I think.
Yeah, I think it's done. And yo, to your point, right? Look, it's Joe Flacco, it's Deshaun Watson,
For sure.
it's Dylan Gabriel, it's Shedeur Sanders, and it's Kenny Pickett.
And that's the question. Did you go there to die, or do you go there for dad to come and pick up the team, and we have a chance, and here come the Browns, and oh my God, they look good on paper. Here we go, Baker Mayfield days. You know.
Well, yeah. Let me also tell you this. Let me tell you this. Shedeur Sanders, if you can't win this starting job, you're gonna validate a lot of people
that said what they said.
You're a 5th-round talent. It's like, bro, look at this QB room.
Yeah.
Look at it.
It's pathetic. You can be the savior. And yo, you know what else I like? You know what else I like a lot? Guys like Shedeur and like the makeup of Shedeur in the sense of, yeah, he was supposed to be the 3rd pick overall and he dropped so much. I want that guy on my team. I want a guy that, like, you know, I'm petty.
For
Oh,
sure.
word?
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
word? Five rounds at the weight? Okay.
Yeah.
Watch now, motherfucker.
Yeah.
So he could go out there and, like, become QB1 and then fucking take the league by storm. I like guys that get passed on like this.
Yeah.
It's my favorite person to get behind and rally behind.
Can I be the realist in the room?
Yes.
Worst case scenario here.
Worst case.
He's a free agent by the start of fall camp.
Listen, they have 5 quarterbacks.
That's
right?
the thing. That's
do.
the thing.
They
'Cause
do.
There's 5 quarterbacks.
They
If
do.
there was a quarterback room of 3, he's for sure staying.
Well, they're probably going to
5
put. They're going to put. Look,
somebody's.
what they're going
Like,
to
do
do.
you see that? Did
Yeah.
you like? You got to look at that roster
Yeah.
and be like, dude.
Somebody's
So look,
getting axed.
Watson got hurt in January, right?
And people cheered.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
Watson,
let's not forget.
He re-ruptured his Achilles in January.
Yeah.
So he's probably going to start the year on IR. And then you have 4. One of them is going to go to the practice squad.
Yeah.
So who's it going to be? You traded an asset for Kenny Pickett. You took Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round, and then you took Shedeur in the
I'm
5th.
saying, bro. It's
Is that
it's
the
like
plan?
it's. I want him to have the chip on his shoulder. I
It
want to
is-
see the media storm. I mean, he's going to be what we talk about month in and month out, especially when rookie camp starts. We're for sure going to be seeing the footage of him in fucking shorts and t-shirt thrown around next to the lefty from
Yeah.
Oregon.
Yeah.
Think he was a steal. I was really a fan of Dylan Gabriel, but just being a lefty and biased. But
I don't like lefty quarterbacks. I don't like.
I'm kind of weird about it, but
If you're a lefty quarterback, I'm not drafting you.
I'm kind of weird about it too.
unless your last name is Vic.
Vic and Steve Young are the only good lefty quarterbacks. You know, the ball spins different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of
It
receivers.
spins the correct way. It's opposite
if
all
you're
the
a
times, right?
He's a lefty,
Yeah,
by the way.
that's
also.
why
It
he just
spins
said
the
he's
correct
right.
way, and then
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
going
Yeah.
opposite.
Yeah.
all
It's
the
like
time.
when
I
you're writing, it's like it's neat because it's that way.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying.
Yeah, I'm not with that. I don't like lefty quarterbacks. It fucks the whole thing up. Now my right tackle got to be my most expensive guy, and then what happens if he gets hurt? And then you have the stupid franchises like Miami, who they have a right-handed quarterback as a backup. So now like your whole scheme changes.
Right.
That's why my biggest pet peeve is when you have a starting quarterback and your backup is nothing like your starter. Like when the Ravens had Joe Flacco and Lamar was the backup, it's like, bro, two totally different fucking
When
schemes.
any
Dude,
team has Joe
like,
Flacco.
stop trying to-
when any team has
stop
Joe
trying
Flacco.
to go back into the time machine to
Yeah.
make sure that he's
Yeah.
still, you know what I mean? Yeah, I get it.
Look, it's unfortunate, but he could definitely have the final say in this.
Like you said, let's hope for
Yeah.
his. I mean, it's hope for his sake,
Yeah.
not let's. But you know,
And look, man, it's something that I feel very good. This draft validated all my thoughts on mock
on
drafts.
drafts, yeah.
And if you're watching this or listening to this, if it didn't for you also, this is very eye-opening. Very eye-opening because I always felt this way. And then talking to my friends that are in the NFL and former players that I know, they're like, bro, we don't give a fuck about mock drafts because the way we evaluate talent in the locker room and then with the front office, it's way different. So mock drafts, and honestly, it's very similar to how sports books go about their betting lines. There's a sports book in town that they'll hang -7, and then all the other sports books are going to copy that. So a lot of times, if I'm name an analyst, Todd McShay,
Yeah.
right? If Todd McShay is like the
Says-
industry standard, if he puts out a mock draft and you're a mock drafter, you don't want to have Nick Dais, who's number 2 on McShay's list. You don't want to have him in the 5th round. They're gonna be like, Katie's
It sounds
fucking
weird.
stupid.
Yeah.
What the fuck is she doing?
Yeah,
You want to have it
wanna
like in
be-
that ballpark. So that's why mock drafts are really stupid.
it just goes off of one source of truth that you thought you heard it, if you thought you heard it.
Yeah. Like how many
Can I-
times do you hear when like, there's been times where teams grab a quarterback. They're like your boy Sean Payton with Bo Nix, right?
Mhm.
He's like, he was the best quarterback in the draft, by like not even questionable in our eyes and what we had and when we were evaluating talent. And he went 12th, 10th, 12th, like around there.
Yeah,
So it's and Caleb went, and like a lot of good quarterbacks went before.
Here's a prime example from Arkansas this past year. The league think about this. This is a fucking crazy statement. The SEC leader in receiving yards, Andrew Armstrong, 1,100 yards this past season, did not get drafted. The number 2 receiver on Arkansas, who finished with 546 yards, white guy, long hair, got drafted first by the Lions. Round 3, like pick 90 or whatever the hell it was. But I said first because I think he was the first Razorback off the board. So the person who literally didn't lead the SEC in receiving yards last year was drafted first
yeah, went.
in that receiver room. Absurd.
Yeah,
It's just
it's like
it's-
so blind.
when you-
It's blind. The draft is just like it's a dartboard.
you don't want to give money to future employees that you will hate.
Yeah.
You want the best employees.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Let us know what you guys think about this whole conversation in the draft. Before we go, I want to talk a little NBA. Sad news, but anyone that's been watching sports knew immediately that Damian Lillard fucked his whole leg up the way he fell and the way he collapsed. Damian Lillard, it's been a nightmare for him since he left Portland. Last year he had the personal issues. He was going through a divorce, and he said this year, I was going to remind everyone who I am. Dame time. He's 34 years old. He'll be 35 in July. Not only is he out the rest of this season, probably going to miss all of next year. And it's very sad. It's very unfortunate because he's going to be 36 years old when he comes back. And
Which is absolutely insane.
yeah, coming off this injury as well. Now, Dame, it's done. What happened? What does this mean for Giannis and Milwaukee? Because I think it's been like he kind of snitched on himself during the season when Luka got traded. He was like, I hope all the European guys go to big cities.
Yeah,
He was like, I would love to
kinda
see-
talked
Yeah.
a little bit about a future.
Yeah. He kind of planted the
endeavor.
seed, just a seed. He's like,
Yeah.
I would love to see Jokic in New York. I like
then
Luka being in LA.
And then it validated when, unfortunately, the Dame thing happened.
The Dame thing happens.
And it's nothing against Dame. I mean, he's a great player. He could bounce back from this just like Kobe did in his injuries, right? Because he's that type of guy that would do it. Nothing against him at all. I actually know a guy that knows my husband that knows Oscar, who is Dame's uncle. And he's a solid dude. Dame is a solid dude from the Bay, obviously. One of those guys that works hard. But it's nothing against him. I mean, it's like this whole Luka trade and stuff like that. And the way Giannis said that, it's like you just know that there's going to be a couple pieces moving. You know?
Yeah. It's also like he has probably the easiest out of a superstar to leave and not get jerseys burned, really, because he won them a title.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He won them.
Yeah.
He did what he had to do.
Yeah. And it was like time to move on. Next step. Next adventure.
And I think that's what's going to happen, right? And also, like, yo, he gave you a title. He gave you a decade, right?
Pretty much.
And like, yo, what do you have from here, right? Next year, pick swap with the Pelicans. They have a protected second round pick with the Jazz. Then in 2027, they have a pick swap. 2028, there's a pick swap favorable for Portland. And then 2030, they have a pick swap with Portland. This is all for the Damian Lillard trade. Their next first round pick is in 2031. They own fully with no fuckery around it, right? And like, yo, if you're the Bucks, like your team is nowhere near close to winning.
You get a haul.
And this is the asset. You look at teams like the Rockets that are young. You look at a team shady like the Thunder, bro. If the Thunder like crash chow now, you could put a trade package and they have all these assets also. I think Giannis this summer gets shipped to a different team. I would love for him to come to New York with the Knicks. They would have to do something with like OG and Bridges, pick one or the other and something. Fucking take both of them. Right?
Yeah.
Because then you know me, I'm going to have the picture with the Nastas that I have and be like, I'm the reason why Giannis ended up on New York. I'm 100% going to post that. But I think that's what you need to do because the injury, I think, to Damian Lillard, it closed the book on this chapter of the Milwaukee Bucks with Giannis.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is it. It sucks to see because I was a huge Giannis fan on his run from really 2017 till when he won the title. And then ever since that moment, you know, the Celtics had his number a lot. Like he is the most unguardable player one-on-one. Like if you had to play pickup, I think there's nobody in the NBA that can touch him by any means. He's just that physical. And so no matter what team he goes on, that team now becomes a contender. Is it Miami? Maybe. I could see like,
it might seem,
yeah,
right.
he's looked up to LeBron, right? Maybe he tries to bring pieces and create something, or does he go into something that's already established? I just want to see Giannis out of a situation in which he has to carry the fucking torch night in and night out. And even when they brought Dame there, it was still him carrying the torch.
Yeah. And maybe
the nights were few and far between. They would happen where Dame would take over, but it wasn't to the level that we feel like, and I know it's crazy, but maybe you could find it somewhere where it's the Luka LeBron situation.
a bigger market, you think?
Go find your superstar. I don't necessarily. I mean, the Celtics would be crazy.
A bigger market.
Nah.
I know that's
Knicks are
nuts to
pretty
say,
big.
but
No, I mean, yo, the Knicks would be fucking phenomenal. There's a lot of Greeks in New York also.
yeah.
He would feel
Knicks.
right at home.
Yeah.
They would build a statue for him the moment he holds up the jersey without even playing. They'd be like, yo, you're the best player that's ever played for.
Well, I don't really think it's going to be anywhere in the West. I think it's going to be in the East.
Avoid the West.
Yeah.
Avoid the West. Yes. No way he goes out west.
If you're him and
which
you want to
team on the
win,
West?
yeah, for sure.
Avoid
Well,
the
no, because I think if he goes to a Thunder, it's like, well, we're still going to be the team to beat.
Yeah.
Like you want to avoid the West if you're going to. Why am I the Kings? You're going to the Kings.
Yeah,
you're
like which team on the West would he go to? Like if it was just the West. Which team?
You know, it'll be popping from like a visual also
Mhm.
if he went to San Antonio. With
I was
Wemby.
just
my
thinking
God.
that.
with Wemby and
There'd be
De'Aaron
it would be,
Fox.
I could already ESPN cover. It's going to be him and Wemby, wingspan next to each other,
Yeah.
covering
basket
the
to
court.
basket.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's even
Basket
better.
to basket.
That's even
That
better.
kind
it's
of
gonna
that kind
be.
of reminds me of like the Wallaces at Pistons. You know, like two big.
Oh yeah,
Deals,
yeah.
You know, Houston
that
is
seems
definitely interesting too. They got a lot of young pieces. You got to go to a team that's young that it's enticing for Milwaukee also. Like Milwaukee's going to want to rebuild. And then you
Yeah.
look at like Bridges went for 5-1s. What does Giannis go for? 12? Like,
Yeah.
do you just mortgage the next decade for him? Because he's 30,
Yeah.
right? So he's still young and like,
Yeah. With
he'll
the science,
he'll be good for the next 5 years. He'll still be a top 5 player in the
Yeah,
league.
he's good. Yeah.
And he's under contract until 2027. He has a player option for $62 million. Probably breaking news. He's probably going to pick that up.
Yeah.
Right? $62 million. I think that's what that injury signaled to me. And it was unfortunate because it was a really fun basketball weekend. Like it was a lot of
Really?
good fucking games.
Other than mine and George's bad beat.
Yeah, other than your bad beat, which leads me to I'm going to call Anthony Edwards the old man slayer.
it's fitting.
Right? The young buck is in town. He's 23 years old. He beat the shit out of Durant and the Suns last year. He beat Jokic and the Nuggets. Even though Jokic is like, I don't think he's 30 yet, but
He looks more than 30.
right, but he's also
No
been
offense,
he's
I
also
know,
been in the
he's-
league. None
yeah.
taken.
To him.
He's
you know.
an older player.
Yeah.
If he beats LeBron, then he would probably play Curry and the Warriors and Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green. He beats them also. Old man slayer, bro. Just running through your favorites and talk about wanting to
My God, I love that.
wanting to become the face of the league and the talk of the league. What's better than everyone tuning in to watch the Lakers and LeBron and this generational talent that LeBron was? Who the fuck is this kid dropping 40
Right.
and shoving LeBron like, you ain't shit, bro. Fuck out of here, dude.
Yeah.
That's what people like. Yo, I think he's the
Can
coolest
we
player in the
hashtag
league.
that? Running through your favorites. Look at Nick. coming
Running
up
through
with
your
that,
favorites.
you
Yeah, the
know?
old
Like,
head slayer,
I
man.
love
Like he's
it.
really gonna beat up on all your favorites. And I've been looking. Look, I already have the Clippers bet at 25-1. I've been staring at the Wolves at 25-1 also, even though I think the Lakers are gonna win by 30 in Game 5. They're gonna get 83 free throw attempts to 3 for the Wolves. They're going to be Rudy Gobert is 100% in foul trouble
Foul out.
inside the first 4 minutes. Nas Reed is going
4
to pick
fouls
up.
in the
Nas Reed is going to get, I'm taking the under on Nas Reed. He's going to get
love
mad
it.
fucking fouls early.
I love it.
Guarantee you the Lakers win by like 30 plus points in Game 5.
This
and
is
then
the
it goes to
bounce back.
Minnesota. And then it goes to Minnesota. But he is just going to run through all of this generation's favorites. And he's on a mission. Last year, he earned his stripes. He got to the conference finals. And now this year, it's like, yo, Luka, y'all beat me last year, right? Bet, watch.
Yeah.
Watch. And he has that about him.
Yeah.
He has that about him. And in the post game, the first thing he does is Dante DiVincenzo, McDaniels, Julius Randle Ball, and Rudy. Like immediately, he passes the credit off to his teammates. And people are going to go crazy for him. And
Yeah.
I think that this is a way that you could be like, yo, bro. And if you're the NBA, like, hey, man, this is a good
We might
way for
have
this
to
guy to become the next guy if we
Yeah.
want him to. And I know he has the off the court stuff that has been well documented, and it's a crazy life that he
other
likes
than
to
the
live.
baby mama stuff.
Yeah, outside of that.
But
he's
it's
been
not.
chilling.
It's not as bad as like Ja. Ja
For
was
sure.
Ja
Yeah.
was once in the
That's worse.
conversation of face of the franchise, future face, but then those got bad. But it's not as bad, so I get it. I get
Yeah.
it. I could see it.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying with it could be perceived as bad off the court stuff, but he is him. I just like his demeanor, like the way that he knows how to play the game and push the limits without being annoying. You know, and in a
Yes,
series
yes.
where you're seeing Luka fucking cry over everything, you're seeing LeBron cry over everything, and he's being the smart one in the situation, looking at the referee, just being like that one the dude Kembo or whatever, where he's like, look at
Yeah.
what you guys have created.
Yeah.
I don't do this. And his physicality, he's next level. There is games in which when he gets cold,
He's cold.
yeah,
He's
and
just not.
I know, like, you could tell early on if his rhythm is off, he can't go for well over his point total. Like he's a boomer bust guy. He's not a 28 guaranteed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, but here's the thing that I like about him. He does it on the defensive end, and then
And it
also
makes up for it.
if the buckets aren't coming in,
Yes.
he had 9 rebounds last game. He had 8 rebounds the game before. He had 6 rebounds and 8, and then his assist 6, 8, 0. Okay, we got to mention it. And then he had 9. So he's contributing in other ways when he's not getting the points. He had 43, 29, 25, and 22. They're 3-1 in the series.
That's a learning curve, though, when you're young. You got to learn how to contribute in other ways and
Right.
maybe play into the factor of like,
Right.
I got to do what I got to do to get better, get back in there, you know?
Yeah.
And yo,
It's a young
you
thing.
know who else is playing with a chip on his shoulder? Because I saw him in New York for a while. Julius Randle. Julius Randle. If
110%,
Julius Randle plays the way he's playing,
Yeah.
and they're winning games with like DiVincenzo hasn't really been shooting lights out, but Naz Reid is contributing. McDaniels is. If Randle, because the thing about Randle, and this is what teams need in the playoffs especially, is you need 2 guys that could create their own
Mhm.
basket. That's why Towns didn't really work with them the way it did. Randle could do that. And he's a streaky guy, and also like he's getting in LeBron's face too.
Yeah.
Like, yo, don't forget he played for the Lakers.
Oh, it's
There's
big
a-
for him.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
a revenge. There's
Yeah.
a revenge
Correct.
factor
Yeah.
for him as well. And I think they've been the best team that I've watched in the playoffs. And I know the Thunder beat up on Memphis like they were supposed to. I know the Cavs just won by 50. This is like you're doing this to a team that they had the second best odds in
And
the West. To
Don't
win
forget,
the West.
they're the tallest team in the NBA.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, they're
Yeah.
terrible.
So
Defensively-
you take that, and you're a coach. You know you're going against some power, like Luka, like LeBron.
Yeah.
You know you can win because you don't have Anthony Davis in the middle. You don't have a Dwight Howard to annoy the shit out of someone like Randall would annoy the shit out of someone.
Am-
you know, and Dwight, he was annoying.
Yeah.
Am I
You don't have an annoying
crazy?
guy.
Crazy to say this? I might be. Are the Timberwolves the Orlando Magic of the West? Because hear me out here before you tell me no. I feel like the Magic would defeat any other team in the East in a 7-game series. And they got paired up with the wrong motherfuckers early. And I feel like the Lakers are dropping the ball in the big time. But when you look at the Magic and the Timberwolves, they're both just built around, if the shots don't go in, it doesn't matter. Our defense shows up every night. And they have a alpha on either side. The way they're constructed is what I'm trying to get to.
You swung me a little bit. You definitely swung me a little bit. It sucks that, like, you know, bro, Nuggets and Clippers, we're going to lose one of those teams. Lakers and Wolves, we're going to lose one of those teams. In the East, you know, the Knicks are up 3-1. They should be down 3-1,
Mm-hmm.
right? We didn't even talk about the no call at the end with that shot by Tim Hardaway Jr.
Yeah.
But you're right. A lot of that is like, yo, when full circle, right to the beginning of the show, when are you playing certain teams? That's why odds are the way they are too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like the Wolves, it's a bad matchup for the Lakers.
Bad. And you would think maybe we lost games, or we as in because I'm a Laker fan.
I'm a big we. When I talk about my teams, I say we.
Yes. Yeah. That's how you know.
Yeah.
But you know, like we lost games, we were injured, we sat out. But for this, you know, they didn't think about the disadvantages, right? Like maybe that's what happened with the Knicks. They had more of the advantage than the other team, thinking that the other team had more of an advantage. So it's wild. But I like your theory, because Orlando Magic always seems to find a way to get
I
in.
think every team in the East would at least drop 2 games to that Magic team. Maybe the Cavs would be able to defeat them in a series, but I'm dead ass, bro. Like
Look, last year they went 7 with the Cavs.
Right.
They went 7 with the Cavs in the first round. And I know this Cavs team is way better, obviously a year older. But yeah, they took them. They took them. And Paolo, I think if you're a Magic fan, like Paolo has had 30 in every single game. And for a young team, like this is going to be a team where when we do an NBA preview next year, I'm going to be like, yo, we got to take their over.
Yeah.
Like, we got to take their over.
Yeah, you got to start
Young
taking
team.
totals.
Giannis, go to Orlando.
You got to start taking totals.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's a tall team.
That's a
Get
tall team.
Paulo, Wagner, and
Yeah.
Giannis.
I think Wagner would have to go.
Yeah.
I don't think you could. I
You
think
can't-
if you're Milwaukee, you're like, we're not gonna.
You can't
you're not
play
gonna
two stretches.
Yeah, but you're not gonna take Paolo from the Magic.
For sure not.
So Milwaukee got to be like, we need Wagner.
Yeah.
But yeah, but
True.
that's a great Orlando and Giannis. Damn, that's something. That's their MO.
That's their next piece that they need.
That's
if they
their
wanted to
MO.
be-
They would take
Yeah.
someone like him.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
this was fun. This was a fun day. Thank you for dinner.
Yes.
You took us
Oh,
out
man.
to dinner. That was very nice of you. It's always great to have you on the show. Thank you for always showing love too. You know, like you've sent us like a care package and stuff, and you always repost our stuff, and you've connected us with so many people, and it means a lot. Because I always say that like the best endorsement for anything in the content space is your peers resharing your stuff,
Absolutely.
and especially where like, you know, you also do content like we do, and a lot of people think that it's like butting heads and maybe you're gonna take away. It's really
No.
not like that.
Yeah.
The content space is made for collaborations, and you've been someone that if we don't fucking get an invite to the show to do with you, we're gonna be pissed off.
No, you're
So we
you're
better
getting
get
an invite
because
for sure.
to come on the show.
I want you guys to be on the first episode of this season.
and,
So
and you know
at the
any,
Sports Betting Queen.
yeah, anytime you're in Vegas, you know, to hit us up like you did, and we'll coordinate having you on the show. You just mentioned it now, but mention it one more time. Where can people find you on social?
At the Sports Betting Queen, www.thesportsbettingqueen.com, and it's on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, Apple, whatever. It's on everything. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate you guys. As always, we're people of our word. That's all we got in this industry. So, you know,
Yeah.
I've got yours. You got mine. Thank you.
Yes. No. I
And shout out to the bachelorette party,
Yeah.
TK.
Only bachelor party to never go to Magic Mike. Never heard of that. But yeah, Katie.
We saw
tried to do her
Metro
thing.
though.
It almost happened.
I tried.
Yeah. But it was a lot of fun. Thank you again for coming on. At Mr. George Carmona is where you can find me. I just dropped an episode of Pin and Pool with my brother. We recorded out in Arkansas. Baby bro graduated. It was a college sports graduation today. So I'm going to be going to his real graduation next in 2 weeks.
Wow.
So next week, I think we have him on.
Yo, I need a jersey, bro.
They put his jersey in the store. So
Yeah, I need a jersey. I need it signed. And yeah, I'm not gonna sell it, but I need a jersey. I like collecting
Yeah.
shit. You know, I like collecting. I got Cam and Mace to sign vinyl records. I got Maurice Clarett to sign some helmets. I'm like, why not, yo? Maybe
like
he
your stuff.
becomes the left guard for the New York Giants.
Why not?
Why not? Let's put it out there. At Nick Day is 10 as you can find me. All things Veterans Minimum at Veterans Minimum. We'll catch you guys later.
peace.
Element. I'm a gold medalist, bronze like your medal is. So many deer in headlights, but it's bedtime. Hear that supper bell, main course be the venison.
Dab. Most dangerous game. Either kill or be killed.